Mine's probably about a foot from my mouth.
Yeah.
Giggity.
Okay. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to KM Tactical Discourse. We had a great time on the last episode. We had some fun with it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. I did notice that we're starting to see a little bit of growth there, along with some comments in the video, which we'll touch on in a little bit. We have an exciting show for you today, and contrary to what we said about not being a news source, we will be happening to cover something that's kind of happening in real time. So we might also kind of update as we're going, which is the current incredible deal with these first moments of the peace talks between Gaza and Israel. It doesn't really get much more important than that. Not to mention, this is definitely going to put another straw in the hat of Trump possibly getting the Nobel Prize. In a similar vein, we're going to take a look at what's going on with the kind of westward movement of the Islamic faith and a lot of the concerns that have arisen in some of these states like Michigan and Texas, and a lot of the concerns that came out of Europe. So this is probably going to be the majority of this episode. And then coming next week, we're going to have our first guest. So that's going to be fun. I won't spoil too much, but this person has known us for a little while, and we're looking forward to having her on and seeing what kind of shenanigans we can get into with some controversial topics. So stay tuned for that.
Another thing, too, that we're going to be doing is we're going to try and make it a habit to do every 10th episode. We are going to try and set up like a range day. I've noticed that, or we've noticed really, that a lot of our popular videos had to with guns and our military. So that's really cool. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully that is in support of 2A. That's really cool. If not in support, I would really honestly love your feedback as to why, guns isn't important. It's going to be really cool. We're going to try and hopefully have it set up to where it's kind of like maybe we'll do reviews on the guns that we have. I've personally have three that I actually haven't shot, and then Kaz over here has shot his P365 fuse. Maybe we'll do some reviews. I've never shot one, so maybe I'll review his. He can review mine. But maybe we'll even get some feedback from some of the people at the gun range and how they feel how important weapons are in their life.
So on top of that, based on comments on our most viewed video, I am going to be doing a follow-up video on this Aegis Elite holster that some of you might have seen, 11 months ago when I first put up the little 2-minute video, excited that I had just gotten it. I've been using this for my everyday carry for this whole year. Sitting in a car, even at the gym, just seeing how it is to carry in gym clothes, regular clothes, even tucked into nice clothes. So I'm not sure when I'll have that out, but looking to do like maybe a 5 to 10 minute follow-up review of the Aegis Elite by Tier 1 Concealed, which holds my 365 fuse and a extra mag for that everyday use. So stay tuned for that.
Also, a little funny that I would like to add in there, because I know that I'm not the only man that thinks this, but when I carry and I'm in my car and I'm sitting in my car, I always feel like my gun is just going to randomly blow off my man Johnson. So I'd like to know, do you have that fear too? Please leave your comment down below. Love to hear it.
Along with any other questions you might have about it. Concealability, I saw in the comments, how it's held up, using it all the time, if I actually like it. So yeah, hit us up with all the comments, questions you have about appendix carry, which is what I do with that, and anything else gun related. We'd love to address it in a future episode.
So without further ado, we'd like to go ahead and talk about some of the comments that we were getting on our last video. It was honestly, it's insightful. Honestly, it helps us kind of understand where you guys are at, especially some of these people that are actually in some of the places that are going through whatever the media says that you guys are going through. So in this case, there was a gentleman that stated in one of the comments that Chicago actually was not in need of military deployment in their cities. They said that they live in some of the like harsher areas, and it's not bad enough to where they have to send military personnel to get there to help. In my opinion, honestly, I don't think it's about even sending the military in there. I think it's more so it's to help the police do the policing. Just to kind of keep some of the really, really like heavy crimes under wraps while the police can actually do their job, and kind of like once it gets to the point where things aren't like crazy full scale, then they'll back out and say, all right, the rest is up for you. But I definitely love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that what we said on the show matters here. which is that when you have the National Guard or Marines or whoever doing the part of standing guard over federal assets, which again is the most important thing to remember here, they're not doing police work. They are literally sentries. They're standing guard. They're protecting federal property, which alleviates the need to use police in this regard so they can go out and do the policing on the streets that this gentleman is talking about in these different areas in Chicago. So there are definitely people in Chicago too that have talked about how they're excited or ready to have that support come in. It's good to understand that there are, two sides to the conversation here. The optics of having military in your city is not fun. But I think that the benefit of having that sort of presence is an immediate reduction in crime and an immediate reduction in people being tempted to FAFO, because, actually a good example is when this happened in LA, you notice that the protests that were taking place around the military Humvees tended to not go too far. Probably not as tempted to push the limit when you got military standing next to you going, come on guys, keep it in check. And I wish we weren't at that point, but I do disagree. I think it is necessary, and I think it's important to acknowledge why others in your area might think it is necessary. This isn't, armed forces going in, forcing everybody inside like a military takeover. It's just to help local police.
And also too, to the person that did comment that, just in case you managed to watch this video, if you still disagree with what we're saying, I would really love some more like in-depth detail on this topic. Like if you want to do if you want to DM us on X, you can totally do that. Or if you just want to leave a long ass comment in YouTube, you can do that too.
Absolutely.
I'm in gosh, what is my handle? My handle is the real Mugen XS on X. So if you want to go ahead and just DM me, you can certainly do that. You can also do the KM Discourse X platform if you wanted to go ahead and do that. But I definitely want to hear more about your take on Chicago, seeing as that you're there.
That's extremely valuable. And I want to also add too, as we're going over these comments, we want to lead by example and show that we encourage conversation, whether you think what we said is dumb, you disagree, you agree. What we're going to do is treat your input with respect, regardless of the temperature you might come in with. So, even if, some comments that are just rage bait, we probably just won't give the light of day. But comments that actually have substance, where there's actually an opinion discerned that we can say, all right, this is intelligible and I can actually articulate what this person means and make a response, versus somebody that just comes in and says, F you losers, and leaves. Like, that's not really the same.
Yeah.
But, comments like this, we're not going to come at you or blatantly disrespect or anything of the sort. The whole idea of tactical discourse is to have these conversations. So thank you for commenting, and everybody else that we're going to go through. Would love your feedback, including, like Mugen here said, with a more nuanced explanation of where your disagreements lie.
Also, too, there was another question, or comment actually. It had to do with Pete Hegseth's speech and the silence of the generals and how they quote unquote spoke volume. So for some of us who are civilians like myself, because I actually had to ask this gentleman here how that whole process goes, and he explained it to me. So I'm going to pass it on to him so he can kind of explain it to you as to why there was so much silence in that conference with Pete Hegseth. And hopefully it's as enlightening to you as it was to me.
Yeah, and it's really nothing crazy. It's just military etiquette and decorum. When you are there in attendance, especially somebody important like the Secretary of War or the President, I mean, even us in our divisions, if we had the Command Master Chief, a CMC, coming up, if he was giving a talk, it didn't matter if you agreed, disagreed, or what. You, in the military in formation, you are not uttering a sound. You don't cheer, you don't boo, you don't do anything unless you're ready for the wrath of Uncle Sam to come down on you later when your duty section leader pulls you aside and tears your ass apart. So it's expected across the military, and a lot of military people will be able to chime in here. Now, discussing it with your shop, and stuff, that's different. But I mean, even some folks going as far as, blasting our commander-in-chief on social media, you can find yourself in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice pretty quick. When we join the military, we sign away a lot of our free expression, our rights that you would have as a civilian. That you would have as a civilian. We all know this when we swear in. and when we're going through the process. So this silence is standard protocol. It's expected. You're not going to get anything more than what you heard with them calling them to attention, at ease, take your seats, speech said, attention again as the Secretary of War leaves, and then that's it. So this is standard operating procedure.
So, I mean, that's again, just to kind of touch back on his speech, his speech and his old-fashioned direction that he's taking with the military is going to be phenomenal. There was a comment stating that for to not be gaslit by some of these people that this is something that's already been taking place back in 2020. Yes, that's right. It is something that was trying to be implemented. However, when it came to women doing their test, over 70% of women actually failed some of the tests. So after everything was put into review, everything was put in order back in 2022 to have kind of like a subpar separating like men requirements and women requirements. In this case, like of course there's going to be some exceptions like biology. Women are going to naturally have a different fat percentage than men. So there's going to be things like that. And if I'm not mistaken, you said something about the Marines earlier when we were talking, and how some women at that time could like opt out of doing pull-ups to do
push-ups
push-ups.
instead. And it was only like 3 pull-ups required too, which is funny because if you guys saw our last episode, we showed this badass woman just banging out pull-ups just to
Decking
make the
them out,
congresswoman
dude.
look stupid. Yeah, and this was all done in the vein of equitable participation. Gosh, that word used in these contexts is like cancer. Equitable. It's just equal opportunity is fantastic. Equal outcome is what you get with a lot of this equitable push. It's another way of saying DEI.
The only time that I ever want to hear the word equity if it has to do with my house and I'm getting like that's it. Like that is the only fucking time that word should ever be mentioned. Like this whole DEI bullshit just needs to stop. And honestly, I'm really glad that and also by the way, not to shit on your comment with not being gaslit by the military. Definitely not being gaslit.
That's a good point. We want to be very careful with anything that we get to not run away with it without making sure we have the facts. So I encourage more of that. Thank you for that comment. But
definitely.
In this case, to your point, it's not the case. It started in 2020, hunky-dory at the end of Trump's term, but by 2022 they said, no, we got to go to age and gender-specific stuff because women are failing out. Again, to another point you brought up, this is in Hegseth's new return to neutral standards to the highest male benchmark is meant for infantry, artillery, special forces, combat positions. So this isn't to say that, like we said last time, that women aren't going to be able to be serving in the military. It's just that these roles require more. They demand more of you.
Again, I'm just going to take that moment to thank all of the people that did comment. I definitely want us to be challenged because we're not always going to be right. There's going to be situations where our knowledge is going to be challenged. There's going to be times where your knowledge is going to be challenged. And that is the whole part of discourse. That is the whole point, is trying to get, the thoughts together to not necessarily be combative when you conversate with one another, but to have those hard arguments and figure out the truth in between. So thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch the video for one, and also comment. That helps us out greatly. So thank you for that. So, dude, we're in phase one of this peace treaty with Gaza. And actually, before we get too deep into the Gaza thing, I kind of want to go into Peacemaker Trump here. Since he's been in office, Trump has touted ending 6 to 7 wars in just the first 7 months of him being in office. So it's really, really cool that we're seeing all of these, ceasefires. Now, granted, these aren't full on halts, stop on war. There is, some short-term ceasefires. There's still things that are being, what's the word? Negotiated. There's some things that are still being negotiated. So like similar to this whole thing with Gaza. But dude, how do you feel about that with phase 1 of Gaza?
I think, like a lot of folks, I'm cautiously optimistic while remaining skeptical. But we've already seen the foreign affairs side of our administration working its magic with the conflict in Rwanda, de-escalating things between India and Pakistan, as well as Israel and Iran. And, you know, there's trouble with Russia and Ukraine because of Putin. Just, he's his own problem. So that's probably going to take a lot longer to solve, because on one hand, they want to sit down and have talks, and on the other hand, Putin goes, hit him again. And it's just like, you're not going to get anywhere with that sort of mentality. But we've seen sort of the casual way that ceasefires have been kind of handled between, what was it? Iran and Pakistan as an example, you know, trying to get their last licks on each other before that like midnight deadline. I remember the dad-like text that Trump had put on social that basically was like, at Israel, he's like, turn the planes around. You are not to bomb them.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's kind of comical in how it's presented, because it's like he's wagging the finger like, you stop it. Don't, no, turn around. And, you know, outside of the calamity, it is, there's a little like breath of comedy to it. I hope, that is to say, that this time, it being like the 13th time that there is a phase 1 to peace talks involving the Gaza Strip. You know, Hamas has only been in the equation, I think, since 2013, 2014, but other parties, other interested parties of the Palestinian people have been going through this conflict since like 1970s, at least as far as these direct involvements that, you know, even the U.S. is a part of talks and such. This conflict's been going on in the Middle East since like pre-biblical times. That's one of the reasons that it's such a hard thing to figure out, is because there is deep-seated, deep-rooted cultural and religious ties on both sides that neither is going to give up. It's monumentous. I mean, this is very, very important. This does give you kind of its real vibes compared to a lot of the stuff in the past. So I'm hopeful that this is actually going to go somewhere. I think, honestly, and I'd love your thoughts on this, the hostage situation, the swap, the release of the prisoners from Israel and the hostages from Hamas, that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. They're so supposedly they're expected to release these hostages October 11th, which is just 2 days of us recording this video on Thursday, October the 9th. So it's really exciting with Trump planning to travel actually to the Middle East to oversee implementation of this. An international security force is also planned to help secure lasting peace and locate remaining hostages. There's also, too, like, despite the deal, Israeli strikes continued, like you said, you know, just continued in Gaza. So, I mean, they're, again, like you said, they're trying to just get their final licks. So, I mean, it's cool. I think what I really like about this administration so far is just how deeply involved Trump is with everything. Just like the way that he's a businessman, and that's what he does. He makes deals. So the fact that he's able to have disputed some of these wars, like which one was it? It was Rwanda, right?
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yes, okay. The ongoing conflict between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, which all to date has resulted in, I think, over 6 million deaths as a result of that 30 years of war.
And he just like snapped it. Done.
Why is nobody talking about this, right? You know, like that's kind of a big deal. That rivals the number of Jewish prisoners that were attacked during the Holocaust. Now, that is not to put them on the same bar, because the targeted assault on the Jews in the Holocaust is a whole different caliber of evil. And the 85 or so million lives lost during World War II. Like, you wouldn't want to put them side by side, but just the specific people, like 6 million people since the start of the conflict gone. That's crazy. And they both came to the White House to sign papers, the leadership on both sides, or representatives rather, and they're excited for an economic future, which honestly, I think, to your point, with Trump being a businessman, that's a lot of what makes these deals happen. Like, Trump's plan for Gaza, that some people might have forgotten, is basically to completely renovate and make it like a Dubai 2.0, like a gorgeous place to live. And it does come at the cost of needing to relocate a lot of people, which is where a lot of the tension comes from, because the Palestinians there are just like, nah, we want to, this is our home, we don't want to leave. It's kind of tough though, right? Because like, it's a freaking wasteland now.
Yeah.
Like, if you can take shelter, and I think other countries like Qatar and Egypt and the United Arab Emirates and such, they're in on this too, on this not restructure, but this extreme home makeover, Gaza edition, essentially.
Rebranding.
Yeah, rebranding, rebuilding, everything, and I think they would take the people in and support them as Gaza's rebuilt. If it's
Egypt?
split up, yeah, Egypt, Qatar, the
I think they
United
would.
Arab Emirates, all of those places. At least that's what I would hope. I know that they don't think well of Hamas. I mean, this
No, they
religious
don't.
extremism is straight up banned in Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and stuff. Like they don't tolerate it. There's literally a zero tolerance policy for a lot of what Hamas believes and does.
I think this is going to be one of those things where there's, I mean, if Egypt does take in a lot of these people, there's got to be contingencies. You know,
sure.
there's, I mean, it's, as far as I know, I think, you know, the Arabic people in Egypt have just been, they're peaceful. You know, like I don't ever really hear anything happening over there. So it's like to have such a, the people that had just, you know, gone through this war to be relocated over there and kind of still feeling that trauma being in a new place. I mean, I totally get it. I totally get it. I think that we're in a really good direction in the world right now. And I honestly, this is going to go back to you guys. Like, I really want to know, like, don't watch the video and be like, fuck these guys. Like, don't do that. Like, I want you guys to comment, please. Like, and it's not because of any fucking algorithm. I can honestly give two shits about the algorithm. I want to know what you think.
Yep.
Because unless you guys challenge us, it's only two dudes sitting in two different rooms talking shit. So it's like, we need you guys to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you have family in Israel or in any of the Palestinian nations or in Gaza itself, which would be wild.
Yeah.
Let us know what's on your mind, because we're just a couple of American dudes chilling in Florida talking about what's going on. So I have surface level knowledge of this stuff. I think to a degree both of us have at least a little bit, because we don't want to completely talk about something in ignorance. But we're kind of giving our American perspective. You know, like there's a phrase that I enjoy from Asmund Gold, the Walmart American, which I more identify as a Target American. But the idea is like, what are the thoughts of the average Walmart American, you know, or just the average person on the street? What do they think? You know, do they care? Is this the problem? Because I mean, for me, I guess I'll speak initially. A lot of my thoughts on this conflict have been, I'm America first. This ain't America's problem, and yet we're still over there trying to fix shit. And
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, this is a good thing. I think that whether it's just that Trump needed to be in the room or Marco Rubio, very likely, they're helping push this along and getting things done that other people couldn't. And being able to actually think about this, again, in an economic sense, because the way you get lasting peace is for both sides to have a promising future. You know, there needs to be prosperity. There needs to be wealth sharing. There needs to be a process for growth in business and economy and just general population hygiene at like a total scale. So I think it was necessary, though I will say it's one of those things where I would have been better minded to say, like, why is it our problem? You know? What do you think?
So, yeah, I get, you know, so the issue with me lies when we give foreign aid to the other militaries. You know, like the billions of dollars that we've given to fucking whatever. And then all of a sudden, if I'm not mistaken, like that wasn't even accounted for. Like, where the fuck did it go? Kind of thing, right? Wasn't that like just poof gone?
Oh, even worse, the way Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan, leaving all of our tanks and helos and weapons just there to be taken by the terrorists.
That's so fucking dumb. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the whole like this isn't our problem. Fuck them. They can figure it out themselves. But at the same time, once they're finished with their war, where's that war going to go? Because you're going to have those people. You're going to have those people that are war hungry and they're going to want to continue to do it.
Or they feel like they without have to police the world. They had this like moral high ground. Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually something that we're going to be talking about later on. So, I mean, in a position that we're in right now with this administration, a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this, but it's okay. There is no better person to do this than Donald Trump. No better person. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, yeah, no one has. Like,
before this, again, these conflicts have been going on since the 70s.
And then, you know, you've got, dude, this is like the dumb shit that pops up on my feed. You have Kamala Harris that's sitting here making fucking videos saying, we had the closest fucking election in the 21st century. And it was fucked because of Andrew Tate and his influence on these young boys and all this other shit. I'm just like, what the fuck? Were you and I watching the same fucking election? Because I saw very, very little blue and I saw like a lot of fucking red. Bro, like there was places where you would see like 8 red, 1 blue. Like, come on, man. Like there wasn't a fucking, this wasn't close. This was a fucking landslide. You guys lost. Period. But anyways, if you were to have someone like Kamala Harris, who loves word salad, we would probably be in a worse situation with these wars than we are now, without a doubt. And I think Trump, he just has a way with words, dude. Like he is that dope ass grandpa, straight up. Like he is that grandpa that like if you were in trouble with your parents, you would go to him. You would go to him and you'd be like, "Grandpa, this is what I did," and be like, "Well, son, did you do this? Are you sure that blah blah blah?" And he's like, "Well, this is the best cake that you're ever gonna have. You're gonna go ahead and eat it, and I'm gonna tell your mom that it's okay because I'm Trump, blah blah blah." I know that was like fucking, that was word salad right there. But anyways, I really feel like he's just that the dad of the world, in my opinion. Like he is that person that is wanting the best interests of the world. You know, every step of the way, he's been proving that he wants to defend not just the U.S. Of course, it's the U.S. first in his eyes, but he also wants to stop all this needless killing overseas. And I think if him going over to deal with this whole Palestine and Gaza thing, like I really feel like we need to do it. And again, there's no one better than him to do it. I think it's going to be great. And the world is going to prosper from it.
I agree. And there was all this opportunity again to try to rectify this problem in the past. And stability in the Middle East is good for the planet. Nobody wants proxy terrorist groups going around causing problem in any country. You know, it's unfortunate that here in the year 2025 that this is something that is still a current event and not some historical discussion about how dumb and war prone our species was when we were younger and I don't know, trying to conquer shit. And now we're at a point in this life cycle of humans that as a species would expect us to be trying to push further, you know, outside of our system, more of a unified planetary cohesion. You know, people are always going to disagree. There's always going to be cultural differences and such. And I don't think that we need to force like a homogenous soup of all cultures everywhere at all times, because I think that's honestly just going to cause more problems than it's going to solve. Certain cultures are just not going to mix well.
Yep.
That's okay. It's just like the audacity of thinking that when you go to Japan, it should cater to everything that somebody from the U.S. should want or do. Like have to speak English or do all this stuff. Like, no, you're in Japan. It's their rules. You play by their rules. Same here in the U.S. It'd probably be a good idea to be proficient in English, at least enough to read signs so you don't pull a U-turn in the middle of a highway and kill someone in a minivan using a freaking semi-truck.
That was fucking dark really fast. Goddamn. Where did that come from?
That was the illegal alien that was fucking driving the semi-truck that pulled the Yui and killed the...
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
That was
Holy
before
shit.
we spun the pod back up. Yeah, that was an illegal immigrant that couldn't even read English or didn't understand signs, and he had a freaking CDL given to him from California.
Bro.
For an 18-wheeler.
I really thought, dude, that you just like pulled some shit out of your ass. So there you go, folks. There you have it. As told by Kaz. Dude, it's fucking, that's nuts, man.
Yeah.
And just to kind of not steer off too much off the topic, but dude, like they when they were arresting all of these illegal immigrants in California, it's amazing how many of them had no name given written on their fucking driver's license, bro. It was literally just an address, a date. I'm pretty sure it was just a random fucking date of birth, but that's it, dude. And then their picture. That's wild.
And that's where, you know, in a future conversation on immigration and such, just pointing out how important accountability is. But back to your point about Trump, I think the important thing is, love him or hate him, he is getting things done. You know, it's like you said, the things that he's wanting to do, closing the border, tariffs, these conflicts that he's trying to have resolved. You can
free Palestine,
right? The irony, bro. I mean, they're not going to say it though, because you know, Orange Man bad. Nobody's giving Trump credit for ending the conflict or freeing the Palestinians or setting off a possible future of prosperity. No, they can't. They would probably spontaneously combust if they had to give any credit to our favorite flaming hot Cheeto.
I love that. I love that, dude. Flamin' Hot Cheeto is so sticking, bro. Oh my god. And I hope you guys fucking use that too. When he goes on his fucking rants, Flamin' Hot Cheeto. He's Cheeto Man, and then Flamin' Hot Cheeto when he's pissed. But I mean, to kind of go back to your point of like them not trying to give him his dues. I mean, here's a post. This is from Barack Obama. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight. That those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that the vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians, with the support of the U.S. and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza and to commit to the process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve long-lasting peace. Which I would definitely love to add the comment of Donald Trump Jr. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Dude, I mean,
It's like he's trying to come in for the kill steal in a video game, right? He's sneaking in there.
Bro. That's a Barack Obama move. And just so you know, I thank you guys for all the support that you're giving me. And now we're gonna be peaceful with these people. And bro, it's so funny because like at one point I did like Barack Obama. And I think it's because of the swag that he had, truthfully. I really do. Like, that dude is like, he had
and he
swag.
Knew how to talk, too. And he had a great presence to him.
Yeah, he did. But now I'm just like, fuck, bro. You're kind of dumb. It's just, anyways. But yeah, dude, good job to Trump. He's kicking ass and taking fucking names, bro. And that's something that we've seen him do. And, dude, it's just amazing, dude. We're only 7 months into this shit. We're only 7 months.
Yeah.
Into the, is it 7 months, right? February was when he was like actually in office.
Well, January 20th, I want to say, was inauguration day.
Okay, so let's just say for shits and giggles, the beginning of February. Okay, we're 9 months.
9 months.
9 months into it, dude. He's done all of this, and like him. Okay, so I don't want to just give it all to him because it's also his cabinet and the people that are like involved in the situations themselves. But I mean, to kind of go to kind of like piggyback off of that, like, dude, you got this dude is based off word that's being spread is being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize this year, which is going to be released tomorrow, as of today, 10/9. But
maybe he'll get an honorable mention if he doesn't make it in.
I know, right? Maybe he'll get an honorable mention. But still, dude, I honestly, I mean, how great would it be? Bro, that would be some fucking sand in someone's britches, right? Goddamn. The man ends wars, frees Palestine, and then wins the Nobel Peace Prize? Oh, bro. We're gonna have some mad fucking liddies. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude. There should be some fucking mad people, bro.
It wouldn't be a good time. If you thought the meltdowns when he was elected were bad, probably have a part 2 of that. And I think this time around it was President Sisi, if I'm saying that right, of Egypt. The last time I heard wind of somebody saying, "Man, Trump should get the Nobel Prize or Peace Prize," was it Pakistan after the India-Pakistan conflict? Yeah. Or Pakistan's like, "Hey, dude, good job. You should get the Nobel Prize."
Like in person, I would love to meet Donald Trump. I think he would be funny as fuck. How about that new picture that's going around with people? I mean, it's the right saying this, but it's like, finally we've got some proof that Trump is actually grabbing pussy, and it's shaking hands with David Newsom. Or Gavin Newsom. Yeah, that shit is so funny, bro. That
I was just waiting to see what the stitch was gonna be, and when it happened, I was like, that's facts. That's fair. Okay.
That was really good. Yeah, it got me too. Like when I watched it, I was like, oh fuck, like what are they trying to push now? Yeah, and I saw that, I was like, well played, right? Well played.
But I do want to mention too, guys, I know this is, as you're watching this, it's likely going to be up by Monday. So, things are going to have happened since we've covered this topic, and it's sort of unfolding as we record this. I just wanted to read, as of the afternoon, Israel's Security Cabinet is in its emergency session right now. Netanyahu called the Trump chat emotional and warm. But there are some dissenters that are causing some problems about wanting to, renegotiate the yellow line and such, which kind of goes in what we were talking about with the issues with the IDF still having some of its attacks and all. As of the overnight wins, the cabinet vote seals it. Netanyahu's full government meeting wrapped up around 2 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. local, passing the deal with a solid majority. Hardliners grumbled but didn't bolt after tweaks to the yellow line buffer. And then, of course, Trump sticking to his guns. All 48 remaining Israelis, 20 alive. So, unfortunately, 28 no longer alive. But they're returning the bodies to the family so they can, give them a proper burial. Out on Monday or Tuesday in one handover. No fanfare, just a swap. Just get it done. They're not trying to make it ceremonial or make it out to be some dramatic thing. They just want to just execute it. Hamas confirms the counter 1950 Palestinians freed from the jails in Israel as well. 1,700 post-October 7th detainees, 250 lifers, but no Hamas elites. So any of the big guys like Barghouti, Qatar's mediator, Mayed al-Ansari tweeted, "It's all terms locked with the U.S.-Egypt guarantees on the war's completely over side." Also highlighting the fact that this is supposed to be an actual end. This isn't just like a temporary pause. But yeah, the elites like Barghouti are staying locked up. The top war crimes and such. This seems legit, guys. I'm hopeful. Again, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Hopeful, but skeptical.
Yeah, I'm hoping it goes forward. I think there's a good chance it will because, again, with Rubio and Trump doing it, we have the right people in line and the other countries' support in the Middle East, which is really important. Egypt, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, all of them.
It's definitely looking to be a good thing. And honestly, this is not to say that like this is how the American people show their like dominance towards everything, but this just shows how much the US plays a part in just about everything overseas.
Yeah.
Like they really
stage.
Yeah, man. Like and Trump has it. Trump is center stage right now just with everything. And it's so cool. I mean, it's really cool to be in the direction to maybe potentially have world peace. Like world peace has always been kind of like I don't want to say a joke, but it's like when I hear somebody say world peace, yeah, there you go. It's a pipe dream. And when I think of world peace, I always think of those bimbos on stage that are like fucking whatever. They're just like, what do you dream of? And you're like, I pray for world peace. I'm like, no, bitch, you're worried about your next Botox appointment, but whatever.
It was always a superficial pipe dream. Like, it'd be so nice if there was no more hunger and everyone was holding hands and kumbaya. And, there's always going to be turmoil and conflict, but if we can at least not have any major wars, I think that's a huge win. Personally, I'd love to be in the Star Trek era where the whole planet is basically just copacetic and we are in spaceships trying to figure out who else to bomb out there.
Yeah, right. No shit. So even though there might be some peace, there's still going to be a couple of things that that are going on. As we were talking earlier before, there was a live video of the roundtable over at the White House where Trump was speaking about Antifa, and some independent journalists spoke their story about what they go through like out on the floor while other big media people are not covering these things. But Rubio actually in the middle of all that actually gave him a note in regards to the ceasefire, and I guess you can say the declaration of peace between Gaza and Palestine. This is all relatively fresh, as of yesterday, October 8th. It's even though that we've got peace there, we still have, some groups down here or over here that are still wreaking havoc. A lot of people don't like to say that they're real, but I honestly, you've got facts that point to it. But the radical group Antifa is still out there. In that meeting, there was a secretary that had stated that they had caught one of the girlfriends of the leader of Antifa, and she is in for questioning. So Kash Patel is also going to be involved in that, and I'm excited to see what news we get from that, because I feel like this group is something that we need to just put to an end. But with that, we also have some other radical groups that are, for lack of better words, trying to infiltrate the country. How do you feel about that, bro? Like this whole Antifa thing, it's Michigan and Texas as of right now too, with the other issue
with regard to the push of what appears to be the Muslim Brotherhood and such, and some less than savory, radicalized Islam. So, yeah, I mean, on the Antifa front, man, I may not be religious, but I'm ready to go Old Testament on the way we're handling that. I don't think we're doing enough. I mean, the amount of people that are grabbing officers and agents, the couple or whoever it was in those two black SUVs that tried to run ICE off the road and they ended up returning fire. And I think they either hit her or just hit the car. They had detained them and then already released them. It's just I
That's
don't
wild.
get it. I mean, it's not to categorize everybody as Antifa, but anybody who is breaking the law and doing anything violent, I mean, I don't think it gets any more obvious than literally
Or
running
obstructing
into
the law. Like,
obstructing. Yeah, that too.
you're
But I
obstructing
mean,
any of it.
yeah, it's just yeah, obstruction, violence in any fashion, throwing rocks, even just putting your hands on officers. Like if you're just an average Joe Schmo and you're being detained and somebody comes up and tries to grab an officer to get them off of you, they just committed felony assault on an officer. These are things that need to be put to a higher degree of priority as far as holding people accountable for breaking the law. Why are they still walking free? Put them in a federal prison. Take the state side out of it. The state wants to keep releasing these people over and over for whatever the hell reason they have. Put them in a federal prison. Open some more. We got plenty of Everglades space. Alligator Alcatraz, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just...
That's so fucked.
Honestly,
it's true
like,
though. I mean, I totally get it. I totally get it.
On the Antifa front, you know, where they're actually doing like these resistance training,
Riots?
not to be confused with going to the gym. No, riots, but also like training people to, or and like trying to gear them up. There was that armed liberals get together thing. Like there's all this rhetoric right in your face about a violent contingent of radical leftists that are making the normal left look terrible. Like with any extremism, like we'll get into with the Muslim side, it may only be 0.01% of a certain group of people, but they're the 0.01% that are attacking federal agents or committing atrocious crimes, assassinating people like Charlie Kirk. So I think that we need to be a bit more Old Testament with it. We need to be either putting them down on the spot if they do something violent. Someone throws a rock at a cop, just like our Orlando police, done. We will notify your next of kin where to find your remains. And in the least, if you're in crowd areas, because like there is this very good argument to be made that opening fire into a crowd is never good, because you're going to have people catching bullets that were innocent, and that is just a mess to be had. So apprehending, detaining, put them all in prison, and then have them processed. Those who didn't commit crimes, those who weren't a problem, they eventually get out. Boo-hoo, you had the inconvenience of being detained for maybe a week. It's part of the accountability side for me, but the fact that in a lot of these cases, I know the agents have their job to do, and this kind of gets back into the need to maybe file the Insurrection Act to get military support so that police can detain these rioters and actually put them away. Like there's a lot of layers to the cake to get it done, because the ICE agents have a specific job with regard to what's going on of detaining the criminals, the dangerous illegal aliens that they're trying to get off the streets and out of there. They don't really have the leisure of saying, also, let's arrest the 30 people that are here as well. You know, that's where you would need local law enforcement and some other help to come in. But that's a very long-winded way of saying that we need to crack down harder. You know, this might ruffle some feathers, but in some of these cities that are this bad, it's time to pull out the belt in the form of maybe some martial crackdown.
Beat some ass. Yeah.
Beat some ass,
I mean,
lock some down. Because, I mean, and the people that are going to benefit from the reduction of crime and things being cleaned up, the Band-Aid being ripped off and the wound being cleaned out, they will tolerate some inconvenience, some martial crackdown, martial law, however you want to call it, in some of these cities that have gone off the deep end. And it's not a whole lot of them. We got Portland and Chicago that really stand out.
Yeah.
And I think
to the person that lives in Chicago, I really want your feedback specifically on this part. Like, honestly, like, dude, it would be great if you can be like, here's a video. Like, I'm going to walk downtown. I'm going to do this. This is at night. There's nobody here. There's no crimes. I would love to see, like, visual proof. Because, I mean, and nowadays you can't really take somebody for their word. So, I mean, not that I'm calling you a liar, but it's like, without the proof, I can't really be like, yeah, you're just saying shit. So,
well, and some folks, like, you might be more of a hard ass, you know, that living in Chicago in that area and it doesn't bother you as much. Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that like you're just a tough person, and where it's like,
Mama
ain't
ain't
that
raised no
bad,
bitch.
bro. Yeah, exactly. You can have a different continence mentally towards different situations
Yeah.
where, you know, another person might be like, I don't feel safe going to the gas station, especially depending on, like, you know, are you a pretty stocky, well-built dude that can throw hands and you're not worried, or are you a petite, attractive young lady that might be a target, you know, especially at night, going alone in some of these places. So there are different perspectives to consider there. But I mean,
Or even unattractive young lady. I mean, I don't
well,
discriminate.
that's fair. There's, you know,
I mean,
when you're hungry, right? Some people are just gonna
when
try
it's,
to eat.
everything looks the same in the dark. Just saying. Anyways,
So when it comes to these cities, I think the hard martial crackdown, let's say 2 weeks, this is a thought experiment. Hard martial crackdown for 2 weeks with military support, police recruited and maybe supported from other states that are sending their law enforcement in, like if Florida or Texas are like, yo, let's help, because I know Governor Abbott in Texas is already lending aid where he can to help with ICE in Chicago. So let's just say a hardcore 2 weeks to get in and clean everything up, kind of like Washington, D.C. Would you be, or would you not be better off than this kind of...
would you be okay with it?
Yeah.
Like, how?
And
What is
all
your
it means
perspective
is
on it?
maybe an 8-9 p.m. curfew to be home, unless you're, you know, working. Oh, yeah, you know, actually, we've been through this, guys. We've been through this. It's COVID.
COVID. It's COVID.
It's COVID.
It's COVID on repeat.
So, but with the end
COVID with pew
result
pews.
of a safer city and a start to actually crack down on the real problems. Because amidst this turmoil and this heightened, fearful, and violent rhetoric that's going across the aisle, and another reason that we find it so important to have these conversations, to be able to talk about these things without getting to that point, is it creates these cracks in the glass where other problems can get in, maybe unbeknownst to us because we're looking elsewhere. We're staring at ICE and Antifa while the Muslim Brotherhood comes in and tries to put Sharia law in different states. And
Good luck with that, by the way.
yeah, that's not going to end very well. The Crusades happened. Christians and Muslims have gone at it before. Let's not do that again. That was horrible. I mean, it's just, we don't want religious warfare. But before even getting to any of that discussion, it is, again, I'll acknowledge 0.01% based on even just what Grok is saying of the Islamic faith being radical. That doesn't discredit the rape gangs in the UK, the grooming gangs and such, the push of mostly Pakistani Muslims of radical Islam in the West. There isn't a lot of recent codified data to really show this as well, which is tough because on one hand, you'll have it to where there is like a 60% generational assimilation to the UK where they are British first, but you know, that still leaves the other 40% even then. Thinking about what has happened more recently in the UK, if you guys have followed at all what's going on over there, I mean, there was like countrywide protests of just wanting to fully shut the border, like the amount of just purely of just Muslim immigrants and the Islamic faith coming in. And what we've seen it all over social media. So, you know, take some of this virality with a grain of salt because there is an algorithmic push of divisive drama that's out there. But it doesn't mean that we ignore the red flags or the warning signs of a potential early problem with this rhetoric around dominating the West. Like, we're coming for you next. We're going to come into your cities and we're going to take over, especially given our Bill of Rights.
So honestly, too, like, not to cut you off on what you were saying, though, but like this is a very real situation, guys. Like, it's not something that's hypothetical anymore. It's not something that's like, what if, you know, like, it's Islam is the real deal. Like, their intention is to mass populate and just take over things. And it's, you know, there's the video that you sent me before, and maybe you can actually link the description to that video in this video so people can see. I think that was a great video. But even someone from, you know, that side of the world was talking against it and how it's such a terrible way of life.
You cannot be Muslim more than me. You will not be more Arab than I. So why is it that I banned the Muslim Brotherhood and you haven't?
Istanbul, alhamdulillah, now in our hands. Rome one day will be in our hands. And every house and every tent will have a Muslim in it.
Why is it the fact that Islamic relief is banned in UAE and it's banned in Mecca, but is allowed in Paris and in London? So it's, yeah, there's a lot of questions to be asked.
You've got places like Michigan. You've got places like Texas, which, by the way, while I'm on the topic of Texas, Miss Valentina Gomez, keep fucking doing you, girl. Like, you're probably not going to watch this video, but I'm hoping that the people that watch this video will find you, because that woman is, dude, I mean, it's fucked up for the people that are into this culture, but I mean, she's taking flamethrowers to the Quran. She is taking, like, you see her posting with a 1776 shirt and holding a rifle. Like, this woman is probably as Americans can get, dude. Like, and it's fucking awesome. But it's a very real situation that we all need to be prepared for. And it's going to be one of those situations, kind of like what we're dealing with now, where we're trying to remove the cancer, but then we're eventually going to have maybe that cancer come back a little bit, and then we're going to have to really deeply cut that out. Mainly Michigan, just because they're high Islamic population there. It's definitely going to be, something that we need to watch under a microscope for sure. As much as I didn't really want to bring this up, we don't need another 9/11. We don't want to let these people into our country to cause harm, because in most cases, not all, but in most cases, they're a radical group that love to torture and kill. So, and that's not what the American culture is about.
And we're talking specifically about the Muslim Brotherhood. These are organizations that are actually in line or in league with, or Hamas is a product of.
You see radical Islamists and Brotherhood who are former terrorists or terrorists themselves, but in the West, they have been named as activists. Those who run away from justice in their own country, and those who committed a crime have been involved in various heinous acts such as rape and beheading and so on. All of those individuals right now, they live in the West as teachers, as lecturers, as doctors, and as protesters, as protesters who protest to glorify the Muslim Brotherhood, the armed forces at least of the Muslim Brotherhood, as we see after the 7th of October, by that time in Hamas.
And these are also radical Islamic organizations that are deemed terrorist threats by the UAE. I've probably clipped in the points in the conversation between, I think he's a geopolitical analyst or something of the sort, in Abu Dhabi during a conversation talking about the way that these organizations, they were terrorists that are now masquerading as teachers and protesters and lecturers in the West, and are using our wonderful First Amendment against us.
Yeah.
Because we have this protected freedom of speech. They intentionally come in, as the gentleman said, to use it and abuse it.
However, because of the scholars that Britain, Canada, or Australia, or any other country, ignoring or ignorance of the fact that this scholar is recruiting and is not speaking about religion, is actually using the space and the place in the West and the freedom of speech to make these children or these students or these people in the West to become the hostage of the Islamist, and then later on to become the soldier that kills his own neighbor.
There was, I don't remember where I saw it, but somebody was like, basically, you started as a protester and then you're signing up for ISIS. And back in the time of ISIS being a real threat, there were more people joining ISIS from the UK than joining the British Armed Forces.
I saw a really shocking statistic speaking about Westerners who joined ISIS. More British citizens traveled to the Islamic State to fight in its ranks than joined the British Armed Forces.
Yeah, the numbers are huge. We're speaking about more than 7,000, I think, some of the Western who at least hold a European passport. The problem is not with the freedom of speech. The problem is that there is an evil inside your society now, is becoming a member of your society, using that policy of freedom of speech to abuse it and to destroy your society, to destroy your universities.
These are serious concerns. And again, just to be super clear, this is not to disparage the Muslim people. It's kind of like the crazy radical Christian nationalists versus just good Christians. It's just that the radical Islamists are, as a religion, kind of still in their adolescent phase. If you think about it, many millennia ago, or centuries ago, millennia or two ago, the Christian faith also, killed its non-believers and, did horrible things under, the profession of decree from the Almighty. And it has evolved and grown to a point, especially post teachings of Paul and Christianity, meaning the separation from the Old Testament, the Pentateuch, Torah, to the actual teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Paul that became Christian teachings. Now it's not in that violent state. That is not the case for the Islamic faith. It is still very much expected to stone the gays and to limit what women can do. So, yes, it's not everybody. Or I should say, no, it's not everybody. But yes, it's important to recognize these red flags and to keep it from kindling into a larger flame, because it will not end well. I will say, though, as a quick aside, to not be so worried about all this talk of Sharia law. We are the United States of America with a constitution.
What?
We are the constitutional republic of America. Actually, sounds really cool to say it like that. Sharia law has no bearing here. There is no footing with which any form of Sharia law could stand on in the United States. It is subject to federal law. Everyone here is subject to federal law. So rest a little easier there, because I think there's also an important thing. This is where we're sort of towing the line on this channel and with this podcast. Our First Amendment right may be abused by ne'er-do-wells, but it is also important to remember that this is a country of religious plurality. Christians, Hindi, Muslim, non-believers, all the above. So we need to be careful not to do like we did with 9/11 and sort of universally condemn one group of people for the actions of radical terrorists. Keep that in mind going forward. We need to call out the bad, call a spade, but remember the human aspect to this. And let's not get shut into our echo chambers and our tribalism too much here. Thank you for coming to the TED Talk.
Yes, bro. Thank you coming from bro, I love that. So, I mean, this is going to be really good. This is kind of like I guess you can say kind of like a teaser of what to kind of expect when we actually cover our topic on religion. The reason why we haven't covered it now is because I'm trying to get it to where we can have more than me and him talking about, me being a conservative and whatever Christian, and then him taking the route that he's taken. And I totally forgot what the fuck it is that you said. What is it? Suckle something?
Secular conservative, baby.
You succular conservative, you.
I'm just a
so
heathen. I'm a non-believing heathen. Shun the non-believer.
Shana.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love to just have like more people in this particular chat just to get the different walks of life. Like you don't have to be Christian, you don't have to be succulitarian over here.
I'm getting a shirt, succulitarian.
Dude, fucking do it.
Gotta do it now.
Occupy.
Great. Oh,
Succulitarian.
Unofficial announcement. The start of the KM Tactical Discourse merch. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right? No shit. Let's go, baby. Link in the description will be down below.
Hey, if we get to 10,000 subscribers, hell yeah, we'll start a merch store. Let's go.
Oh yeah, for sure, without a doubt. And we'll come up with some cool shit, dude. All walks of life. Even if you're gay, we'll have rainbow color shit and everything too.
Ha!
So so long, gay boys.
That's so good.
That's exactly what popped in my head when you said that. But yeah, definitely, we're gonna have. We will definitely. I'll be down to get some fucking. Bro, I'll custom ink the fuck out of some. Let's go. I just want to have different walks of life here. That way, it's just not me and this guy. And our two religions. I would love to have people that have different religions and see different points of views. And honestly, like I wouldn't mind having a Muslim on our channel.
No, not at all. Actually,
that would be totally
really cool. Yeah.
That would be really, really cool to fucking have.
Yeah, I don't want this to come off as being anti-Islam. I hate the term Islamophobic. I think that is retarded as fuck.
That's not even a fucking word, dude.
No,
like, it's just something created by the fucking world. Oh my god.
It's just a way to make it untouchable, but that is not to say that I disparage or just disrespect the Islamic faith. Or people who walk of it. And I would honestly love to see comments from folks that have their own views on it. You guys that are part of the 99.09% that aren't crazy, but the majority
dude,
are wonderful, smart, intelligent people that just go through life like the rest of us.
I mean, I definitely understand that there's two different walks of life. You have 9/11 and you have 7/11. 11 and you have 7 11. So I mean, it's just we got So
yeah.
I'm down to talk to someone who's Muslim. I think that'd be really cool.
100%.
I would honestly like. Is there any like specific religion like you would like to like talk to somebody about? Like, I know for me it would be like the Muslim Islamic thing. Like, do you have any like particular preference for you?
As far as current faiths that are well known, there's nothing really that comes to mind. I would also love to hear stories from folks who maybe have walked away from certain things. Not necessarily like left
Like transitioned?
Christianity, but
Like went yeah.
well, possibly, having switched from maybe Islam to Christianity, or those who went from Christian to Catholic, or maybe switched to Mormon, or went Hindu, or you're Buddhist, which is very different than probably closer to Hindu than anything else. But I think Buddhism on its own just really actually that you know what I can't take back what I said. Talking to somebody who's a Buddhist would be freaking cool.
Buddhist would be fucking
Yeah.
so cool, right?
Yeah, Buddhist would be awesome, dude. I would love
yeah,
that.
dude, for sure.
Because I can definitely give my perspective as somebody who finds awe in just the natural world. I think it would also be cool to talk to like some people that might just be spiritual or like a deist. So like real quick for everybody, quick lesson, super fast, promise. A theist is somebody who believes in an actual God that has a hand on what is going on, like the Christian God Yahweh
Goddess
or
of love.
Allah. Basically an actual interfering God, for lack of a better term, like someone who is taking part in a personal God as it's described in Christianity. Whereas deism is the idea that basically there is something that sort of lit the flame and then just stepped back and doesn't get involved at all. And it's basically correlated also to the idea of like the universe being sort of God getting to know itself through life in the universe and stuff. Basically, like the Big Bang happened, and that was like hitting start on a game to run a simulation and saying, "We'll see what happens." But it wasn't like an actual personal intelligent agency, but more of like a massive sort of universal organism that doesn't really have a will or like intention.
Huh. Like an effect, a cause, like a cosmic rolling effect.
Yeah, essentially. But it's still being something above and beyond us, which is a lot of the big appeal that religion carries for so many people, is that sense of something great or something orchestrating, which this is all part of what'll be a fantastic episode when we get into a discussion of religion and science and everything. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, anybody who views this video and is of another religion, I would love, please, because we do read our comments, please leave a comment, say, hey, I'm interested, this is my religion, and then you can
won't judge.
Leave it at. No, I'm definitely not here to judge. Like I love all sorts of people, dude. It's not even about that. Like, I honestly believe, like, if you're a good person, you have good intentions, regardless of religion, like I think we can be friends. Like, you don't have to believe in the same things that we do. I don't believe in the same thing that he does, and he doesn't believe the same thing that I do. So I mean, it's like that's the whole point of discourse and getting to know each other and finding common ground and just becoming a one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Like, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Full Pledge of Allegiance, just full on. Let's go. I almost went, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, but seriously, guys, like I really would like to talk to you, a lot of people, in different walks of life, just to kind of get, dude, honestly, I kind of just want to know everything. Like, I want to know all the backlash that you get for being what you are. I want to know, like, all the benefits about your religion and, how you feel about it. I want to know how you implement it in your daily life. Like, tell us. Like, the only way that somebody is ever going to see somebody as non-threatening is if they have the knowledge of whatever it is that they feel threatened by. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's funny too. It kind of makes me think of something that exists in an atmosphere that some of you might be familiar with. I mean, we're a couple of guys in our 30s. We are part of probably the first wave of lifelong gaming generation, and the online world of gaming, dude. Like, whether you're in Russia, whether you're somewhere in the Middle East, China, we're on a freaking squad together playing a game together. We don't care about any of that shit. We're here to play a game and have fun and take on the task at hand, whether you're playing freaking Battlefield, World of Warcraft, I mean, whatever the hell game you can think of. And it's kind of been cool to see, like, in the online community, especially the gaming side of things, there are toxic communities. Don't get me wrong. That's absolutely a thing. There are
Stay the fuck away from Rocket League. Just
Right, yeah.
fucking, if you've never played that game, don't fucking play it. It's like a toxic relationship with a fucking woman that just gives it to you really good, and you just can't seem to walk away, but she's like mentally mind fucking you to stay, and it's just don't do it. Just stay away from it.
Facts. Yeah.
Or
yeah,
dude,
right.
or toxic dude, whatever you're into, but what the fuck?
Rocket League doesn't care.
Don't play
it.
it.
Will be toxic to anybody. If you do play it, just turn off chat. Honestly, that'll make your life so much less stressful. Well, I'm surprised
but
that
it
I'm
still
not
sucks.
bald or gray, honestly. As much as
I know, right?
Piss me off. No, but my big point though is just that, you know, in worlds where we all are interacting together more often, I see it with Star Citizen. There's people all over that play that game with me and that are in my organization that are in different parts of the world, and we're here for a cool space game. You know, we're not here for the BS. Just like you can relate on a human level so easily if you just step out of the echo chamber and away from the divisive rhetoric that wants to fuel all the hate. So I don't know, my little feel good bit of the pod there for you.
No, I agree. I feel that same way. I think it's funny how gaming actually brings people together. It's
Yeah,
fucking
what
hilarious.
a thought.
But
And yet they want to
know,
blame
I
it
know.
on the radical violence that's happening. It's like, you guys tried
Yeah.
that already. The data doesn't correlate. Stop it.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But I think for this one, we definitely kind of we rambled on a little bit, but I think nonetheless it was still a good talk, and a talk that we should have had.
And still in a large way breaking the ice on a deeper topic that we encourage you guys again to help us flesh out.
Yeah, challenge us, ask us questions. Like if you don't agree, I would prefer more comments that didn't agree than comments that actually agreed with us, just because I want to be challenged. Like I really want you to be like, I want to see like, you're a fucking idiot. That's actually this. Like I would love to see that and be like, oh well, that's cool. Let me look that up. Like I want that. Like be nice. You don't have to be a dick like that, but I mean, I'll be nice to you too.
We might match energy, just so you know. A little
will
quirks
match
and
energy.
comedy. Yeah, well,
Fuck that, yeah, dude.
Matching
And
energy's
I'll
gonna
roast
happen.
you in a fucking video. Let's go, dude. I'm on it. Fucking jeez, man. That's you'll be Thanksgiving dinner by the time I'm done with you. But yeah, dude, like please leave your comments down below in this video. It'd be really, really cool to see what you guys think. And I really want to push this religion episode. I think that will probably be one of the coolest episodes that we do, aside from our range videos and maybe even some of the guests that we have. I think that's going to be a killer time.
And I think it's honestly going to be one of many, because that's a conversation that can be had and rehashed in so many ways.
Over again. Yeah.
That's going to be
well,
the
even
gift
if it's
keep
not with
on
the
giving.
same. Yeah, well, even if it's not with the same religion, like one episode we have one religion, next we have another. So I mean, I think it's gonna be a good time nonetheless. Hopefully we do get into an area in our conversation where it's not so defensive, because I'm one of those people that I will challenge, and it's not that I do it out of disrespect. It's due to, I guess you can say, for lack of a better word, lack of ignorance, just because I don't know. So I'm gonna ask you, and it may sound stupid, or I may come off sounding like a dick, but I don't mean it. But it's just I'm curious. I'm so curious. So I mean, there was a lot of talking points here with Trump, Peacemaker Trump. I'm gonna call him Peacemaker Trump. I think that's so cool. And then when he's mad, he's Cheeto Man. But like, I think we covered some pretty good ground with that. I honestly, if this whole deal with him winning the Nobel Peace Prize is a thing, I hope that he gets it. I think that the guy, getting shot several times and being put in jail and then doing all this other stuff and still making America great again, he earned it. And honestly, as I previously stated, if you guys have like a religion that you follow that's none of ours, or even if it is ours, like I'd love to talk and see and kind of get your perspective on things like that. So please leave a comment down below and just let us know. Continue to argue with us, just as the previous comments did in our last video, explaining to us really the differences in what we said versus what reality is in your areas. I love to hear feedback. And again, my handle is at therealmugenxs.com or at therealmugenxs on X, not .com.
And don't worry, guys. Links to our socials will be down in the description below, as well as any sources for data we've referenced or videos that we've talked about. We're going to try to have that all linked in the description for you. You can find us at KM Discourse easily on YouTube and X, and then our other profiles down in the description.
Yeah, guys, I look forward to hearing back your feedback. Please, you don't have to be brutal about it. We'll still get to you and still answer your questions. But yeah, man, it's all about the discourse. So without further ado, I bid you all a farewell, and we will catch you in the next video, guys.